Godspeed with devil's charm. The shit made get switch blades in every arm. And this way we ixnay on any harm. Cause snakes play and fakes slay like hidden bombs. We march in unison. The soul is truer than eternal missions with just a lifetime.
All right, folks, we are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, and we have comedian Bill Burr on the line. And normally when, talk show hosts talk to comedians, they usually talk about, Lindsay Lohan's breakup with her girlfriend, or Mel Gibson's about to get divorced, or Phil Spector, he's going to go to jail finally for killing that woman. But we're hopefully going to keep it on the up on actual events that matter. And I thank Bill Burr for coming in. Thank you, sir.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. You kind of came up after Patrice O'Neal went on the Opie and Anthony show and talked a bunch about the Obama deception. You were recently in the LA Times, as a comedian who actually knows stuff. And when they were referring to the Bilderberg group, they were, joking around calling it the Bill Burr group. So how does a guy like you get into information like that?
All my stuff is based on Wikipedia and YouTube videos that I watch until about 4 in the morning. I've been battling Anthony on the Opie and Anthony show for years about stuff like that. But I don't know, I met that guy, John Perkins, who wrote that Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing that. I watched that Zeitgeist movie. I watched The Freedom to Fascism. And I got to admit, after a while, I kind of had to tap out because it was so depressing. And, I would just be waking up in the middle of the night going, all right, what if I ran up into the mountains and I learned how to start a fire without a match? And, I don't know. It's unreal.
Oh, it is pretty unreal.
The level of, I don't know, apathy out there is... I don't know, you bring stuff like this up and people, they think you're crazy.
Yeah, how dare you talk about an international organization of the most powerful, bankers, politicians, and corporate leaders in the world and say, hey, what's going on here? How dare people question that? And you mentioned America Freedom to Fascism. I'm sure you're not all the way on the up and up, but have you heard about this MIAC report they put on? It was in the mainstream media a little bit. No idea what it is?
No, like I said, I've just been...
Well,
I've been
apparently
kind of just watching the whole banking thing, and I even say to people who aren't into so-called conspiracy theory, it's just really after watching the banks and what they've done over the last couple of years, if you actually believe that the government is above them, I just don't know what to say to you. It's clearly that the government is like middle management. I mean, I would think if the president said don't take bonuses, that they would have to be like, okay, the president said don't take bonus. I didn't know
but they slipped in legislation so they could. Yeah, but they slipped in.
We could say to the president, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're going to take them anyways. Nothing we can do. Why don't you go back to your little cute house there on Pennsylvania Avenue? And
well, you obviously know that's how it's run, though. I mean, for instance, America Freedom to Fascism pretty much lays out how the Federal Reserve is anything but federal. It's not a government agency whatsoever, and they print whatever money they want. And I don't know if you know this, but the G20 just went down, and now...
How isn't it that, Ritz crackers, how come they're not $40 a box yet?
It's going to happen.
How they could just keep printing this money, and we're not like the Germans there after World War I when they had wheelbarrows full of Deutschmarks going down the street to get some bread. That's one of my big moves, man. I want to get a bread maker so I don't have to stand in line. Maybe I'll start a side business. I'll sell bread when this whole thing goes under.
Well, we had a guest on who predicted that oil was going to go down to lower than $50 a barrel last summer, and we all kind of laughed at him and said, there was no way that was going to happen. Then all of a sudden it happened. And he's saying you got 30 to 60 days before that happens. I had him on Thursday, so there's your answer, maybe. I hope it's not the answer. But, I also had Max Kaiser
30
on.
30 to 60 days till what happens?
Till it's wheelbarrow money time. He basically said the dollar had, this is the same guy, and again, we had him on when I think oil was at a 168 or 172 a barrel, right? And he's like, Jason, they're gonna knock it down to below $50 a barrel, and they're gonna keep it there. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way they're gonna do this. And he's like, no, it's gonna be a strategic move to bankrupt OPEC, kind of go after Saudi Arabia, and kind of bankrupt Dubai, and get a lot of people out of there as well, because the elite doesn't like that a lot of people are moving there. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I just don't see it happening. All of a sudden it happens, and like I said, I just had him back on. And he's saying that the same people. This guy. He basically lived with these elites for 3 years out in Alaska back in the 70s, And I guess he got in touch with one of them, and he asked him what he could talk about, and he said he could talk about that. And now he's saying that the economy, the dollar, will be completely dead in 30 to 60 days, where it really is wheelbarrow money time. And I really don't want to see this country in that state of affairs. I hope he's dead wrong.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you,
pretty
this
depressing
is why
interview,
I stopped
huh?
watching those things because I mean, so what do you do? So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to go out
Well, that's
and
what
buy
I
powdered
asked.
food.
Well, I hope not.
know?
I'm kind of lucky because I'm out here in Austin, Texas, and I also have a place in upstate New York, and both of them have land. So I guess if push came to shove, I could grow my own food. Most people in a city type scenario aren't going to be able to do such a thing.
Dude, I live in Los Angeles. We don't even have a water supply, technically.
No, yeah, I know. I lived in Los Feliz for a little while. I really don't care for it out there. Good luck with all that. I'm not a big LA guy, but I don't know. I don't know what happens. Apparently the G20, they just had that. They agreed on a global currency. That's in the works. The IMF and the Federal Reserve are going to become one entity.
Agreed on a global currency already? When are we getting the microchips? Have you guys seen that new Duracell commercial where that woman can't find her kid in the park?
Yes. Why do you talk about that for a second? Because it's ridiculous.
When did they start selling batteries that way?
It is.
She's like, cabin, and then she pulls out that little device, and then the kid comes running out of the woods. They're like, Duracell batteries. It's like, dude, the hell with the batteries? What was that thing she just pulled out of her pocket? How did that kid know to come out of the woods? He didn't have an antenna. His sneakers weren't glowing. What the hell is in that kid?
Yeah. I
like how they just show it. Like, oh, yeah, remote control kids. Oh, yeah, that's normal.
Well, have you seen the remote control kid yet?
There's a microchip on there. That's the big thing, though. That's how they're going to get everybody microchipped, is they're going to scare the hell out of everybody that somebody's going to take your kid. And just through fear. I got a buddy of mine, they got a couple of kids, and I was over their house, and his wife was saying she keeps getting this literature, making her paranoid about whether she knows where her kid is or not. Mm-hmm. What exactly is the whole end game here?
Well, you want to know what the end game is? I mean, it really is a chipped population, unfortunately, and I don't think they're going to scare everybody into it like you think. More than likely, like the big guy in Sega just said that he's going to start looking into microchips in the next video game. They're going to want to voluntarily make you take it. They're just going to have benefits. So look for like the next generation gaming system to come with the chip. You can already order one on eBay, man, for literally $10 plus shipping and program it. It's an RFID chip. You can program it to do all sorts of goodies, including track yourself if you want full GPS.
You know what the sad thing is that I don't think you can stop it because people will voluntarily. They're just morons. I'm so cynical after being on the road. Like when they could start tapping our phones, and then people came up with that brilliant, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, that and the whole, do you remember 9/11? That was a classic heckle I got out in, I was in Ontario, California, and I was trying to justify why they could tap my phone conversations, and some lady, like a trained chimp, just yells out, do you remember 9/11? And I was like, no, what happened? I was in Manhattan that day. Remind me. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Well, obviously you've seen, you've seen like,
forget about the governmental level. I just don't understand, like people go into grocery stores and now they have those automated checkout lines.
Yep.
It's like, why would you play ball in that? You're putting a fellow American out of work, and now, not only that, you're working for free. I actually argued with somebody. They tried to tell me it was a technological advancement. I'm like, how is that an advancement? How is it easier than me standing there doing nothing as two other people do it,
Mm-hmm. Well, they also have the thumb scan.
When it comes to that, I don't use those cards, when they ask you go into the grocery store, they ask you if you use a card,
Well, they've phased that out in some places, too.
I'm not going to have you find out what are the essentials that I can't live without so you can jack the price up.
I know.
I just don't know how people look at that. Like, no, the corporation, they're trying to save me money. Like, they're sitting around in a boardroom trying to figure out how they can make less money and how I can get cornflakes for cheaper. I mean, I don't know.
No, it's gold. I mean, this is a great interview. I mean, you're telling it like it is. But a lot of people still believe that. They want to believe that, the powers that be have our best interests at heart. They want to believe in the American dream, even though they're losing their homes and they're losing their pensions. And, I mean, we don't make anything in this country. I mean, we are literally in the worst economic situation, admittedly, by the mainstream media since 1929. And people are still like, oh, check out my new iPhone app. Awesome, They have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's horrific. In the 10 years, 12 years that I've been on the road, I used to meet people after shows, and they had, like, tangible jobs. Like, people made stuff. They worked. Not everybody. I don't know. They're all in a cubicle looking at like a spreadsheet. I mean, I was like the other day. I bought a pair of New Balance and it actually had an American flag on it. You know. I mean, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah,
they just stamp that on there. Kind of like how these corporations, they just paint their sign green and yellow, so then you think they're into the environment.
Well, you know what I like?
We're going green.
Well, that's a big scam too. I'm warning you, man.
That freaked me out the other day. I saw on the, you know what the land speed record of the steam engine is for the car? It's like 126 miles an hour, and it was set in 1906.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
How
you
hilarious! We don't have to be over there right now.
No,
People should just be over there throwing rocks at each other.
Well, you ever see who killed the electric car? I mean, they have the electric car all over, and they had it for, you know, celebrities and whatever in the late 80s, early 90s, but they only let them lease them, and then no one was allowed to buy them, and they destroyed them all. But, you know, the electric car's been around. Ford built a car.
I saw that one too. And
yeah.